I was born into a hockey family. My grandpa and my father both played at the U, and so I've been skating since I was probably 2 years old. I've always just enjoyed the game, and I knew right away that I would want to play college hockey at the U.
I got into tennis because my dad is a college tennis coach, and he also played tennis in college and professionally, so he kind of just really brought the sport down to me and my brother, and I just fell in love with it. It definitely is a sport where you have to use both like your physical abilities but also mental. It's really challenging.
And just like all the little things, like how the blades feel when I touch the ice, how the puck sounds when it hits the boards. Everything kind of started at the end of my sophomore year. I noticed that I was having difficulty talking at the end of the day, but after about 4 to 6 weeks of it just happening every day, we went to the doctor, and then they did an MRI of my brain, and then it was from that MRI they found out I had what's called an arachnoid cyst, about the size of my fist on the right side of my brain. They told me I was having to be rushed into emergency brain surgery the next morning.
Before I came to college, faith was not on the radar. It wasn't really anything that I wanted to be a part of. Throughout my entire life, my identity in sports and academics and social life, I had this standard for myself and I wasn't measuring up, and that really took me to a place of depression and anxiety, and I really felt like there was no way out.
It took like 5 to 6 weeks to recover from brain surgery. But I was feeling good, I was talking normal again. When September came around for our season to begin, it was just everything snowballed and it got so much worse. I would wake up and I couldn't even put my hair in a ponytail because I couldn't get my arms above my head. And at the end of September, I tried to play in our first hockey game of the year. That was probably the scariest day of my life. I had all 5 symptoms happen to me at the same time, and I couldn't even talk to my teammates, so I had my captain come and help me basically tell the coaches that I couldn't play anymore and that I had to go to the hospital.
I ran into a former tennis player at the University of Minnesota, and she took down my name and my number, and she gave it to Athletes in Action. I met up with Karin Kastner, and we had coffee a few times, and she asked me to sign up for the Ultimate Training Camp. When I went there, that's where they were preaching directly into my life and speaking to me directly into the places where I felt there was nothing. And that's where they spoke on identity and purpose, and that's what I was really searching for. There's an event in the Ultimate Training Camp called Golgotha, and so you put a piece of wood on your back and you run up a hill. I was down for the count, and I had this piece of wood on my back, and I was like, Jesus, like, if you are real, if you are there, like, I need you, and I need you now, because I will not make it through this. And right in that moment, I was sprinting up this hill, and I was like in disbelief that this feeling that had overcome me, this power that had overcome me, and it was incredible. And I feel like I called on the Lord and He answered for me, and I knew in that moment that's something that I could do for the rest of my life. In moments where I was down for the count, where I had no hope, where I felt like nothing can go right, I can call on Jesus and He'll answer for me.
In that moment, I'll never forget, I just said a prayer, and I was like, Father, I have never felt so helpless and alone. Like, will you please just help the doctors and give them wisdom to find what's going on? I was in Ford Hall in my communications class. It was about a week later, and I got a phone call from the doctor, so I stepped out in the hallway. Taylor, this is Dr. Smith. I'm calling to let you know that the blood test came back for testing you for myasthenia gravis, and that is what you have. It was because of that prayer that I said in the hospital bed of just asking for help and asking for an answer. Jesus, I'm yours. Just this eye-opening moment of who He is and who I belong to.
I learned that my identity is in Christ and what He has done for me, not anything that I could do on my own. I feel totally defined and rooted in Christ. You know, when I'm playing, I tell myself, what an awesome time to be free. When there's pressure and when there's a tight match, I can just tell myself, like, what an awesome time to be free in Christ.
This whole journey up until that point, it was for a purpose and for a reason. And it was to glorify Him, to know Him, and literally took my weakness in my arms and my legs and just every part of me and made it His strength. And it's just been such a blessing to even go through this and just have Him with me the entire time. Kara Piazza, who is my best friend, I walked in the locker room and I was like, hey Kara, I found out what I have, and guess what, like, I accepted Jesus. And I just remember her playing it cool, but I know that she says that she was like freaking out on the inside of like how excited she was for me. Kara took me under her wing, and from that point on just taught me basically almost everything that I know. She has been just such a blessing through it all.
Through Athletes in Action, I was able to experience a community that was for each other and loved the Lord and wanted the best for each other. I'm Caitlyn Merzbacher, and I'm a disciple making disciples.
My name is Taylor Williamson, and I am a disciple who makes disciples.